Damien introduced Misha, but Misha is a judge for the Streets Art Safe Film Competition, and he is an incredible judge. He is the CEO of EditMentor, and it's a fantastic education platform for editing and filmmaking. So over to you, Misha.
So let's start with why you actually want to win this thing. Okay, first of all, this is a national contest with a major sponsor. A winning PSA will be played nationally. And just think about that. Millions of people or tens of millions of people could see the work that you put in, and you can gain recognition for yourself. You can gain recognitions for colleges. I also love this competition because it allows you to put your best foot forward. And by that, I mean they give you a lot of time. This isn't a 48-hour festival. You have several months to make a 30-second or 1-minute video. And also you get this mentor process, which is really unique. You will be paired up with a professional mentor outside of your school who will review your project from the ideas stage all the way through post-production and give you advice. And a lot of the advice I'm going to share with you today is advice that they're going to be giving you too. So you're going to hear this more than one time. If you don't catch it now, you're definitely going to hear it on the other end from your mentors. And then finally, I just want to say, this isn't just a good cause. It's a cause that affects you. All right, let's dive into what a PSA actually is, because I think a lot of people understand what it is when they see one, but maybe they don't have a lot of language around it. So a PSA is a message that is in the public interest, and it's distributed by media, usually for free, to raise awareness and change behavior. It has a goal. You know, like a film might entertain you, or a broadcast might inform you, a commercial tries to sell you something, and what a PSA is trying to do is change your behavior. One common mistake that people make is they think, oh, a PSA, it's a film. Like there's some confusion even in my mind, like this is a film competition. But a PSA doesn't have to be made like a film, like a narrative fictional story. It also doesn't have to be made like a broadcast video, because unlike any of those other formats here that I'm showing you, a PSA can be produced in vastly different forms. It could be documentary style or narrative or like a news show. The first major aha moment of this presentation, which is that they are grouped into categories. So the first category is a reenactment. A reenactment is probably what most of you guys think a PSA is. It's what most people are probably going to make. And that's when the filmmaker reenacts a moment of the undesired behavior. This is often shot narratively, meaning like a film. This category is probably what 90% of student submissions are. And that's fine, but it's not necessarily going to stand out. And you're also going to have the stiffest competition. And let's watch one of these reenactments.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. Five seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving.
This is what probably 90% of the submissions made to the competition are going to look like. It's going to be like a person in a car. They have a car accident because they were texting or because they were drinking or taking pills in some instances. We have a crash. We cut to black. There are some sound effects, and we reenacted the event. So this is okay to make. I'm not saying don't do it. The competition is going to be really stiff, and it has to be incredible, and it has to be really unique, and you will not stand out, and you will definitely not win, and you will be like part of the masses if you make a reenactment video. Okay, the second type of video that we're going to watch, this is called a testimonial. A testimonial uses real people, and these are often the victims or people who have succeeded through the behavior that you're trying to change, and they are telling the audience about it directly. So using a testimonial is often more powerful than seeing an actor, because you're looking at a person who has lived experience with that behavior that you're trying to change. And I encourage you guys to ask around your school, ask your family, ask your friends, do some research on this. If you know anyone, particularly young people who are impacted by street violence or some sort of trauma like this, then you're giving them a unique opportunity to elevate their story. And I think you should take advantage of that. So this is an example of a testimonial PSA.
When you have a hole in your neck, don't face the shower head.
Suction out your tube before you eat. Crouch. Don't bend over. You don't want to lose the food in your stomach. Don't use spray paint.
Be very careful shaving.
So hopefully you felt how powerful a testimonial can be. Okay, the third category is called celebrity. It doesn't take a lot to understand what that means, but I want you to think of a celebrity as more like a role model. So if there is a person in your school who might be the captain of a sports team or a science club or the school principal, that is a good person to put on camera to talk about your issue, particularly if they were impacted by the behavior that you want to change. So let's just take a look at an example.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused.
A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out that self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and your mental health.
Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Celebrity PSAs are also good when you use a group of people or like a tagline like Americans stand up to bullies, right? Because that can draw on the group mentality, like we are all Americans, and therefore if I want to be an American, I need to stand up to a bully. Finally, we have my favorite category, and this is the one that I think is the most creative. It's also the one that is made the least often by students. And this is a category called satire. The word satire means the art of making something look ridiculous. And typically what you're trying to do is make the bad behavior look ridiculous. So a PSA is trying to change a habit, and a satire sometimes helps make that behavior stand out in a different way than people might be used to seeing it. So let's take a look at a satire.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Oh, so the idea is that if you don't vote, you're allowing other people to spend your tax dollars on stuff that you aren't participating in. And one of the things that I really love about satire is that you get to play with the tone, particularly humor. You can imagine that as a judge, I'm going to see like 100 videos of people dying and like drugs and like all this awful stuff going on, but I'm not going to see very many funny PSAs. And there's a lot of opportunity in satire to make something funny. So I'm going to show you a funny PSA that I watched. I'm trying to kind of gear these towards the election a little bit. So maybe you'll enjoy this one.
You know, I just don't get it. Seems like nothing's getting better in this world, but I post really eye-opening stuff like every day.
I know, you do. I do too.
BT Dubs, I just retweeted that article you shared.
Which one?
I think it had a picture of a baby panda in it.
Thank you.
Feels like you're doing everything you can to help the world, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now there's a way to do more. It's called actually doing something.
You mean like responding to commenters?
No, that's not actually doing anything.
No, he means being an ally and changing your profile picture.
No, I don't.
Oh, you mean like unfriending people I disagree with?
No.
Oh, you mean like taking an online poll? I'm doing that right now. Undecided.
No, that's not
what are you talking about then?
I'm talking about... You're not even listening.
I'm sorry. I'm signing this online petition, and that's actually doing something. So.
Not exactly, no. That's not...
So is this like a hashtag thing, or is there an app for this?
What? No! You just have to actually do something. What the
I really love that PSA so much because it's funny. You really get the point. They reinforce the tagline, which is actually do something. And the name of the organization that supports it is called Volunteer Match. That's the purpose of the organization, is they take people who want to do something and then they match them with an organization that could use their help. We're not going to watch all of these, but I wanted to show you one or two more and just talk about the way that you can blend the different categories. For example, you can have a celebrity giving a testimonial, sort of like that sports one that we watched earlier, where they were talking about mental health. And we're going to watch a testimonial, and I want you guys to write to me in the chat what other type it's mixed with.
There I was, 16, divorced, remarried with a baby, another on the way, and I could barely read or write. Getting my high school diploma was a catalyst I needed. Now I have a bachelor's, a master's, and I became a teacher. When I look at all these success stories, I could not help but think it all started by getting my high school diploma.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
What was that one mixed with? Reenactment. Very good, Steve Bradford. You are right, sir. I really love this about how movies influence us unconsciously. How many of you guys believe that this is the day she graduated and now she's walking out of graduation ceremony and, oh my goodness, look at what her friend staged for her? This is narrative fictional stuff. This didn't really happen. This is not graduation day. But the way it makes you feel when you play it back is she's like so surprised. Everyone's hugging her. She's acting. This is not graduation day. All right, I'm going to do one more PSA and then we will get to the next slide because I like these so much. Why don't you guys tell me what type of PSA this is?
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Yeah, I can see the right answer in the chat. The answer is satire.
Thought it was cool.
No. Almost always when it's funny, it's a satire. And what they're trying to show the parent in this case, who is the target audience, it's ridiculous to let television tell your children that vaping is bad. It should be you. It's your responsibility. That's why they have dad come in here at the end. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of the structure of a PSA is the tagline. And every PSA needs to end with some sort of memorable tagline. A tagline is a catchy phrase that sticks in the person's mind. As simple as those words are, I'm telling you now that you should spend 50% of your time making the tagline. And you should start that way before filming. Taglines often represent entire campaigns. They're not just for a single PSA. If you are an agency making PSAs, what you would be pitching the company that's hiring you to make those PSAs are the taglines. Normally, you'd make a series of videos all along the same tagline. And I'm just going to give you one example of that, and that is the tagline, "Love has no labels." The idea of love has no labels is we should celebrate all forms of love. And then within that, it could be love of diversity. It could be love of gay marriage. It could be love of yourself. There are a lot of choices, and the behavior that they're trying to get you to change is hate. So let's take a look at some of the taglines here. So in this reenactment here, we had "Stop the texts, stop the wrecks." If I saw that one, I would kind of feel like it was a little bit lazy. I'm not totally sure how memorable it is. This one, "Love Your Mind," I really loved it. And actually, the thing that I love about it the most, I'm just going to jump to the end of this commercial. It's not just love your mind, which is, you should love your own mind. It's also a message from your mind, as if you were signing a letter. Love your mind. This is a message that was sent to you by your own mind, and it's telling you that you should love yourself. It's a really cool, deep meaning that is said in 3 words. This one I really like too. When you graduate, they graduate. You're trying to tell the person who you want to better themselves that by bettering themselves, they'll better other people. And that is often a powerful message. And I really like this one too. You're the best person. So it's putting responsibility on the person that you're targeting with the message. So these taglines are not throwaways. That's my point. And there's actually a judging category based on your tagline. So not including one will almost certainly, certainly not win the competition, but having a great one will put you miles ahead of other people. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is that people think PSAs are like, were made 100 years ago. They're not made anymore, but actually they are made all the time, and they're always like in the public eye. My first major tip in how you're going to win this competition is to watch a whole bunch of PSAs. I really believe you should watch at least, say, 25 or 50 PSAs. Start with adcouncil.org. Ad Council is an American nonprofit that produces, distributes, and promotes public service announcements. That's all that they do on behalf of various sponsors, including governments, nonprofits, and NGOs, non-government organizations. And I'm going to play this PSA for you because this played during the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, not the Super Bowl, the World Series, just so you know how current and modern PSAs are. It's new.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
I think you can see that they're still being made. My next big tip for you is to spend a day writing down all the ideas that are in your head right now, and then just throw that piece of paper away and don't use it. This is an idea that would be like the first one to come to mind, and you should just like never make this. It's too simple.
What a beautiful day. Not exactly how I'd describe it.
That's because you need some coffee. Thanks for the ride to class, by the way.
Yep, and now we're stuck in traffic, and we're gonna be late. Professor McDonald is gonna kill me, man. If I'm late to one more class, she said she's gonna fail me.
Nothing that some coffee can't fix.
Yeah, great solution, Keegan, but where is this coffee that you speak of, huh? I don't...
2 blocks down, make a right.
No, not a chance, man. We're already gonna be late.
Let me get that. Since you're driving, I'll be your PT.
It's not that the message is bad. It's that it's kind of boring to me. It's obvious and it's simple, and if they didn't try, like this could be done by anyone, anywhere. It's kind of too simple. The third and maybe most important tip I want to give you is that you should use your voice. You guys are students and you have a unique perspective. Your message that can come through better than what any adult could make is to tell things from your point of view as a student. And by the way, as a judge, this is what I like seeing the most is a student's voice. So I'm going to end this presentation by showing you one of my all-time favorite PSAs, and that is the one made by students at Miss Sarah Hill's school. This one blew my mind. So this is what you're up against, guys. Right here.
I will graduate from UC Berkeley with honors. I will become a psychologist for troubled youth. I will become a stay-at-home. I will become an activist. I will become a photographer for National Geographic. I will travel across. I will enlist in the military after. I will be killed in a collision with a drunk driver 2 days after this photo is taken.
I absolutely love this PSA, and I really love their tagline. When driving, you're holding more than just the wheel, you're holding someone's future. It matches the ad the PSA really well. This is technically definitely took planning and was challenging to make. I just love everything about it. And I'm glad that it won, and I'm glad that you got to watch it. That is what I'd like to share with you today. And now I'm interested in your questions. This is a rare 15 minutes where you get to ask a judge on anything you want to know about what could win this competition.